damp swamp would seem an unlikely meeting place for the King of England and 39 powerful barons. One might expect such a distinguished group to collect in the regal comfort of nearby Windsor Castle. But then the purpose of this meeting was hardly cordial. It was a meeting under truce, and the meadow at Runnymede provided some military advantage to both sides in case the proceedings came to blows. The barons were not happy with King John, and for good reason. In his 16 years on the throne, he had bled his subjects with outrageous taxes, seized their land and possessions, practiced his own peculiar brand of justice, and in other ways violated the principles under which they'd been accustomed to living. To John, power meant he could do just about anything he pleased, and no one dared to stop him. Though he was king, John was not exactly an ideal role model. Unlike his brother, Richard the Lionhearted, John wasn't very adept at warfare. He was never seen leading his troops into battle. Under his command, England's army lost most of the country's holdings in France. In fact, his miserable record had earned him the nickname John Softsword. Since then, no other member of England's royal family has ever been named John. In 1215, John wanted to go off on another military expedition, and he needed the barons' help to do it. But they'd had enough of his arbitrary ways. They refused to support him unless he agreed to their demands. The barons listed their demands in what would come to be the most famous document in English history, Magna Carta, meaning Great Charter. Many of its provisions tackled issues which were relevant only to 13th century England, but others have a strikingly modern ring. Among the demands of the barons were provisions that the king could not take their property without compensation or consent, justice of the court shall be available to everyone, and that punishments should fit the crime. As much as he must have hated the idea, John agreed to the barons' demands, and those demands were duly recorded in the Great Charter. Had he not died a year later, they say from glutting on peaches and cider, Magna Carta would probably not have survived. But in the centuries ahead, Magna Carta came to symbolize far more than the barons could possibly have imagined. It started a process that would bring welcome changes to English government in the centuries to follow. In various forms, its principles would be reissued again and again. The law of the land, due process of law. The idea that governments do not have unlimited power. The idea that people have the right to live their lives without fear of unjust persecution. The idea that people in power must follow the same set of rules as everyone else, and that no person shall be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of law.